Today's guest conversation is with the head baseball coach at Gardner-Webb University in Boiling Springs, North Carolina, Mr. Jim Chester. Here's episode 76 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Coach Chester, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Fired up to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I'll tell you what, Boiling Springs, North Carolina. I know this. A long time ago, I played in the South Atlantic League. And North Carolina is one of the coolest states I have been to in this country. What's it like living in Boiling Springs, North Carolina?
Yeah, no doubt. I was born and raised, I wouldn't say inner city Pittsburgh, but it was pretty close. I consider myself a city kid. And if you'd asked me 15 years ago, if I'd be living in Boiling Springs, North Carolina, I'd probably laugh. No, man, pace of life is slow. People are great. It's definitely, obviously, the university's busy and our program's busy and life is busy, here on campus. But once you pull out, nobody's in a hurry to do anything. Which is great. It's good. It's a really good thing. It's a really good thing. Just beautiful area, but it's got to be, if you're making a college decision, it's a niche. And then obviously, we love living here. I live literally a mile and a half from campus.
Oh, wow.
So it's it's a lot different than, Pittsburgh or Glassburg, Pennsylvania. So it's a good spot.
Yes. I love the area. You know what? I like the Pittsburgh area too. Man, this time of year, I love this time of year too, fall, new hopes, everybody getting on campus, getting acclimated with each other. So as the head baseball coach at Gardner-Webb, classify you guys are in the Big South, mid-major school. You guys are obviously a reputable Division I program. I can't imagine what it's like for some of those guys to be on campus getting this experience rolling. So this time of year, what are you guys doing? What are you guys focused on? What do you got going on in the fall?
Yeah, no, for sure. A lot of times I think the fall is intensive and busier and a grind in the spring sometimes. Just from the standpoint of just, wanting to make sure that you're getting everything in the right. And we're doing all the things that we need to do as a team to grow and get to where we want to be. I mean, it's, the biggest thing is everybody's talented, right? Like every team's got good players. I mean, it's just, it's inevitable. It's just what are the separators? What are the things that we can do? It's just awesome. You just go over the last 24 hours for our group. I mean, we had individuals yesterday. We were lucky. We teamed up with Ian Miller with 9 Hole Podcast and did a mental performance training last night with the whole team. It was great. We had community service this morning at the local elementary school that actually my son goes to. We said good morning to all the kids that were coming into school at 7:30 this morning. No doubt. Oh. And then we're back at it this afternoon. I mean, so it's just you're hitting all areas of and again. Catching the ball, hitting the ball, and doing all those things are perfect. But we've worked on the mental game in the last 24 hours. We've given back in the community. So it's just, it's a grind, and it's just making sure that we've got that healthy balance of, like I said, the on the field, the off the field, and obviously the rest time and all those things that are needed to be done. And it's a grind. I love it though, man. I've got a passion. Just fired up to wake up today to take care of business. So, and excited to obviously spend some time with you and explain kind of what we have going on. But we start team practice on Thursday. And then we have outside competition, not this weekend, but next weekend. So it's just rocking and rolling. It doesn't end, but it's a beautiful thing.
Man, I love hearing that. And you know what? Outside competition is relatively new to college baseball, like the Division I level, right? Because in the fall, in the past, it was just you could only have inter squads and all that stuff. So I'm interested to get your take on how does that work? Is it just like the regular spring scheduling? You get with other coaches, like-minded coaches, and say, hey, we're allowed X number of games in the fall. Walk me through what the outside competition looks like for you guys at Gardner-Webb.
Sure. Yeah. And, the Division I level, it's you get 2 games against outside competition. So you can schedule a junior college, Division III, Division II, Division I, whatever it might be. And then a lot of schools will take advantage of the international exemption. So there's a lot of teams from Canada that are a little older. They'll come down on bus tours, and they stop and they play schools all through the Southeast. And the schools from Canada will come down and loop through and play the schools in the Southeast, and then on their way back up north, they'll play a lot of the schools up in the Northeast too. So some schools will take advantage of playing that one more extra game, so you can get the third game. So, and everybody's different. Some schools play none, some play 1, some play 2, some play 3. Right, wrong, or indifferent. We're going to play 3. I think every time you get a chance to put your uniform on and play somebody different, and go through a pregame piece when you're not just playing yourself. I mean, I just think it's good practice.
Yes,
it's good practice. So we're playing 3 this fall. We'll always play 3 as long as we can. We have the opportunity to. There's a motion to play 4 moving forward, and that has been tabled. And I hope it gets passed. I mean, I think it's great. I wish we were allowed to play 1 a week. I mean, that's kind of what I've always advocated. Like, we get this window to have team practice, and just for me, I mean, it's more of a football concept, but like, I'd love to practice all week and then play somebody and see where you're at.
Yes.
And then do it again the next week, and just kind of, that's how you evaluate your team during the fall, because inter squads are great. And we start, like I said, Thursday with our first inter squad, and it'll be awesome. But after inter squad 5 or 6, it just, the guys it just loses its luster, and that's everywhere. Just a little bit, just loses it. So for me, like I said, I wish it was like that, where we could every Friday or Saturday play outside competition. And even if it's just a 9-inning game, like, I think you'd get, as the fall went on, you just get a good evaluation of your team.
And you know what? I'll say this, like, as I'm thinking about it from a player's perspective, that's brilliant. What you just said of the 1 game a week in the fall, kind of that football format. Like, what do we bust our tails for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? It would feel good to have that culmination of 9 innings being able to play. And I'm like, who settled on, I know who settled on it, but 3 games, 2 games, like, I would be in your position. I would want all the games. I agree. But I'm like, why so few?
Yeah.
Is there any, do you think that in the future, do you think that there's any opportunity that fall baseball turns into that 1 a week schedule? Because that would be cool as heck.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I'm really low on the totem pole, so I'm not sure. It's just something that I would advocate for, and think that it would be something very beneficial. But you know what? We were not getting too far away from getting 4 games. You know what I mean? I think that's great. I think it's going to be an advantage. It's going to be awesome for our teams and everybody involved. And if you don't mind, I might screen record it. You said that was brilliant. I might share that with. I might share that with my wife, and then I might share that with a few of our fans and people after a tough loss.
Hey, I'll tell you this much. I know your resume, man, and you're a heck of a coach. I know that, and it's obvious. And I'd be curious, because, like, I looking through your resume, I'm like, he's a winner. He's a winner. The guy wins wherever he goes. And you're talking about the fall, and you're talking about getting acclimated with guys. So I'm assuming in the fall you're putting your stamp on season this year's team, and you're creating an identity, cohesiveness. So when I say like the brand of baseball that you put your stamp on your teams every year, what is the stuff that you pride yourself in and on about when your team show up to a field? This is what we can expect.
Yeah, and there's no doubt. And I think every year is different, right? So like I think your personnel gets different, and so you coach different, you do different things, and I appreciate the kind words, but we're coming off a poor season, and it's common knowledge, and the fire's still in my belly that we're probably going at this even a little different than you have in the past, and again, I have been blessed to be a part of some really good seasons. But I spend zero time reflecting on that. I've got retirement to do that. I'm more focused on this 2025, 26 team that I'm in, we're really, really excited about. But the goal every year is, and it's funny you asked that, because I asked in our team meeting last week, I said, what's our identity? And the answer is coming back is like, they still figuring it out. And I think it's a little too cliche to get, slogans and this and that and just throw them out in the beginning of the year. I think they develop as the time goes on.
I like that.
And again, my goal every single day is for us, I want us collectively to play hard, to play fast, and to play smart. My goal all the time, and I share with our guys, is, when we get done with the game, the win-loss is important, right? Like the win is important. It's really, really important. But I want to shake the other coach's hand, and like I want them to go like, man, that was difficult.
Yes,
you guys play hard. Then I know we're doing the right things. So that's important for me. That like when we finish every day, it's like, man, I really got something out of that. We really left it on the field. We play extremely hard, and I just know that, like, again, we have some really good players here. We have a lot of good players. There's no doubt about it. Do we get the guys 95 to 98 out of high school and the crazy exit velos and they're busting out of a uniform, right out? No, we've got to develop a lot of that stuff. But with it too, like the any type of perceived talent gap can be, you can make up for it by the way you play. And the culture and cohesiveness that you build. And so that's what we work on every single day, is like, how hard do we practice? How hard do we play? How many minutes did we waste? There's a lot of pieces. And I think a lot can be said for your success on your attention to detail and how you go about your business.
I like that. I like that a lot. You know what I like? I haven't heard it that way, because I agree with you. You can't just go and say, hey, this is who we are. You got to kind of learn your personnel and develop that identity. Talking with Coach Jim Chester of Gardner-Webb University in Boiling Springs, North Carolina, on the Baseball Forward podcast today. Okay, so I want to get into the culture of in the landscape of college baseball right now, because just this year the roster sizes are at 34, I believe is the number. And I'm curious. You said developing guys and turning them into what they were meant to become. What is a school like Gardner-Webb like? How do you guys, what if you were going to break down your roster size and you were going to say, hey, this percentage is upperclassmen, this percentage or transfers or junior colleges or transfer portal guys, this is percentages high school? What is today's landscape of college baseball? How does that fit in? How does Gardner-Webb fit into the current landscape of college baseball and all this crazy stuff going on?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, this is my 20th season as a head coach, and it's way different than when I got in. I mean, it's way different than 5 years ago. We could sit here. I mean, this is what I've told our staff from the beginning. I mean, and you're on the road and you talk to coaches and you do whatever. And listen, I've been guilty of it too, because we've had some really good players come here and leave, and they've got paid and they've played Power 4 and they're playing professional baseball now, and it's part of the landscape. I'm not ignorant to it, but I'm not going to sit and complain about it. I'm not, because it just wastes time on doing what we can do. And I just look at it as, you get new guys to come in every year that's now that you get a chance to invest in, and you get to pour in, and you get to try to make a difference in their life. So it just gives you more opportunities on that end than you may had in the past. But the one misconception I think that's out there that it's funny, nobody, like, I swear, like, nobody knows this, and every time I bring it up, it's kind of knowledge. So our roster is not 34. The House settlement came through this summer, and you had an option. Every school has an option. You can either opt in or you can opt out of the settlement. So all the schools that opted in, so all the schools, like the big Power 4 schools, everybody opted in. That then triggers the roster cap of 34 with a maximum of 34 scholarships. Included in there is the revenue sharing that schools can elect to do, where they're paying the players.
Yep.
Now you have the option to opt out. Okay. You can opt out of the settlement. So Gardner-Webb we have opted out. So we have an unlimited roster, but we fall under the old rule of you can't exceed 11.7 scholarships.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm curious. Why did you, what's the reasoning behind that?
Again, I don't know. That's what the institution decided to do.
Okay.
And that's, that's the deck or the hand we're playing.
Sure.
And it's I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got a few more guys than, than maybe some other schools, and give guys some opportunities. You create competition, and you kind of figure out what you got. So it's
I like that. You know what though? Like, I like that mentality because, at the end of the day, Coach, you got to play the game. You got to play the game. And I think sometimes we miss this baseball landscape society that we live in now. We miss hey, when you get in between the lines, it's pitcher versus hitter, making fundamental plays, being routine. I think we miss that because everybody gets so caught up in transferring and exit velos and throwing velocities. And sometimes I'll say it for myself. I'm like an old school guy. I miss just watching the game be played and not talking about all these different things going on. It feels like at times it's distracting. It sounds to me like you have a pretty good perspective on being present and in the now. So is that something that you're intentional with, being focused on the present and what we have now and what we're doing?
Yeah, and it's something I think that I've tried to develop over time. And I'll be honest with you, like all I care about right now is today. Like I got no interest in anything else. Now I'm not telling we don't prepare for the rest of this week or next week or this. Everything we're doing today is prepping us for the spring and for competition and competing. And again, we just got out of a recruiting meeting, so like we are recruiting, we're going through and we're worried about next year. We're recruiting like it and doing the things we need to do. But I don't sit back and now things happen and there's players we recruit that remind me of former players that were good players. And there's things that happen where I reflect on the situations, but I just don't, I'm so worried about like making sure we have the absolute greatest day that we possibly can today that I don't really put a lot of stock into, tomorrow or yesterday. And, the one thing I've shared with our guys constantly, and I think that this generation needs to hear it. And I think, like I said, I think that I need to hear it too, right? I share with them pretty much every day, every meeting that we have though, you know what I mean? Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today's a gift from God. So let's take advantage of it. So that's been my constant message, every day. And it's just about the process and let's win today, man. Let's just go out. Let's just dominate today. Let's dominate it. And that's, I try to wake up every day and that's all I'm worried about, man. I'm just going to go take care of today. And I'm not stressing about tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I know this, God, in the good word, the good book, the Bible, he commands us to not worry about tomorrow, to leave the past. It's to be present. So I like that. Talking with Coach Jim Chester, Gardner-Webb, the Running Bulldogs, on the Baseball Forward podcast, episode 76. Coach, let's talk recruiting. You said the word recruiting, so I want to talk. And hey, listen, Gardner-Webb it's a great school. You guys, there are going to be kids that listen to this program and that listen to this episode, and they're going to say, man, I like what I hear. So I'm curious for you. about your recruiting process and how you identify guys. And if someone's listening to this and they're like, man, I want to be a part of what's going on. How do you go about the process as a player getting noticed by Gardner-Webb, Coach Chester and his staff? How do you go about getting noticed and evaluated and recruited by you guys?
Yeah, sure. No, so and I probably didn't touch the previous question a little bit, but we our roster breakdown is going to be exactly this. Like it's pretty common knowledge. We're going to be 50% high school, 50% transfer, somewhere in that world. I think that if you recruit all high school guys in this day and age, it's going to be tough to be very competitive, and you may be every 3-4 years. But that's if you can keep them.
That's right.
For a career, which I think is more difficult. I think if you just have all transfers, I don't think you can get that right culture or standard or whatever it may be. So ASP, so we're always going to be 50-50 somewhere from that standpoint. I'm really fired up about this year's roster. We have some homegrown, developed guys, redshirt junior, true senior guys. We've got a slew of them, on the mound and going to be in the field for us. So there's some product there. And then we had a really talented transfer portal class. And I'm excited about those guys to be able to plug in and compete and do the things we need to do. So that's kind of the way this thing goes. So, I mean, there's 2 seasons of it. We're right now we're in the thick of, everybody, everyone keeps asking, like, you done with 26s? Like, no, I mean, I don't want to say we're just starting, but we have a couple committed, but there's been a lot of kids that have been, decommitted or let go in the last 2 weeks that were, obviously physically talented, but they're now at the roster crunch and different things. And this happens, that happens. They're now available. We've been kind of getting in on those. We've been junior college recruiting, started last weekend. So we've been out and about. We're going to be out this weekend too, and doing that piece. And you go through this whole thing, and then everything kind of settles here in November, and you kind of reevaluate, and then you get into through the season, at the end of the season. And then now, I mean, you're recruiting May to August transfer guys.
Yes.
And it's now, it's changed. The calendar's changed, and summers are different. They're way different than they ever been. And it's, whether you like it or not. And again, and we're a place, every kid goes in the portal and they want to go to LSU, and because and I got nothing but love for Coach Johnson. He kills it down at LSU, but he'll go out in public and say, like, if you're a talented transfer, come here, and it's all good, man. It's part of it, and but unfortunately, every kid thinks they're transferring there, and they're not, so we've got to wait, and we got to wait, and we wait, and you're processing guys late, and it's a busy time, and doing all those things. So, I mean, that's kind of how we formulate the roster now. But if you're a high school player, for me, there's a couple things that got to kind of like, that got to jump off the page for me. One's got to be like, you've got to play hard. Like, I mean, you've got to stand out to me that you move around the field different than everybody else. There's some type of baseball IQ and instinct that's different than some other guys. And you're doing all the little things right. Like, I mean, it's wearing the uniform properly. It's sprinting out to your position. How do you handle failure? How do you run to first base? Can you run first to third? And again, then we're going to move into the dynamic of, like, like, and again, I'm not saying every guy's got to be 6'4", 220, but I mean, is there some idea that you have a fondness for the weight room?
Yes.
And again, you don't have to be, like I said, busting out of a uniform and just, and just, muscles coming out of your ears. That's not loving the weight room. But do you take care of yourself? Are you athletic? Are you twitchy? Like I said, do you stand out? Do you look different? Do you look different from that standpoint? That's got to be important. But most of the time in high school, I mean, we're recruiting athletes and we're recruiting hitters on the position player end. Can the guy find a barrel, and is he athletic?
Yep.
We just don't go out and say we need a second baseman, we need a right fielder, we need a, It's not. It's very rarely. The only thing position specific on that end is going to be a catcher, and then obviously it leads into the pitcher part. And again, I mean, on the mound, like are you athletic? Do you have a fast arm? Do we see 95? And if you're athletic, we feel like we can we can help develop your secondary pitch. And if we feel like you said, if you've got a loose arm, we can we can work you hard enough to get the max velo out of you.
Is it a situation where, okay, because I'll specifically getting into details. Let's say you do like a guy. How can somebody get in front of you? How can somebody even get noticed by you? I mean, I get it. Like they gotta have a physical presence, but do they connect with you on Twitter? Do they go to a camp? Like, what would you recommend those guys do?
Well, I'm still a little old school. We don't cold call like tournaments and different things, right? Like, we've had really good players from certain organizations, you know what I mean? So we still lean on those guys, and
Gotcha.
I mean, again, they've been good to us. I mean, listen, everything goes back to relationships.
Love it.
In your network, and I still have just been blessed to run around in this, the last 20 some years, and I've got pockets of the country where I've got people that I trust, and if we need, you know what I mean, like I'll tell them, like, hey, who are the five? Tell me five guys that can help us, and it just streamlines everything.
Yes. I love that.
It streamlines it, and it's just like, then I know the player we're getting. They know what I'm looking for. There's a really good understanding there of what we're trying to do and who we're trying to get. So like that's kind of that piece. I mean, we just don't go get in a couple cars and drive around Atlanta to fields and try to find players. Like, you know what though, to be honest, I mean, when I first started recruiting, like there was some of that. I was, not that I'm not in a car a lot now, but I was in it way more back in the day before the Twitter and the video and the everything and this, that, and the other thing. I did all. I mean, I guess I'm a dinosaur in recruiting. I mean, I called people's home phones when I first started doing this. Think about that, home phone. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
So, but anyway, it's that's kind of like, and then our camps, like, I think that it's huge to get on, like, then you get to campus, and like, I'm very intentional. Like, all of our coaches work our camps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every coach is there. I have players there. Like, I want the guys to understand, like, because again, we just can't see every player and get to every place and do everything.
And going to a camp would I'm assuming that if I am a decent player, or I'm a good player, a caliber player that you would recruit, and I show up to your camp, that's like a green flag, right?
Yeah, it's huge. And like, if you get on a radar, you'll be on a tour by the end of it.
That's awesome.
Awesome. I mean, and I make their recruiting tools, and we don't charge crazy amount of money. Like, I mean, I want to have players on campus.
Yes.
I want to have players on campus. So, we work really hard with that, but that's kind of the piece to get our, like, again, I just like to be honest and transparent. Like I said, I probably get like 100 player emails a day, and that might be like maybe a little much. And not just me, that's every college coach, right? I can't, if I spent all day just going through every single email of player and watching every video and doing everything, like the wheels couldn't turn here. Fact. We wouldn't be able to do what we need to do. So, I do have a coach that goes through, I send them to all of them. He goes through them, and we encourage all of them to come to camp. We see if there's some things that kind of match up with what we want, but we're not going to like offer an opportunity based off a video and an email. It's not going to be the piece. So I know, I mean, I would be hard pressed if there's a coach out there that says he reads and looks at every single video and everything that comes through.
And what you said, it would be impossible. I mean, I think about what you're the CEO of an organization as a head coach, and the guys under you, they have as much to do, as much going on their plates almost as you do. And I'm like, no, that makes total sense. When you say relationships to me, I think it's important. I think it's so important for parents and players to hear that, is that it's so important that you connect and you dial in and you surround yourself with the right people, because that's where the opportunities are going to come from. when you say relationships, I'm like, what I'm hearing from you is, man, yeah, that makes total. It's like finding a needle in a haystack if you're relying on emails, but start it early. Be careful who you get your sons around as players. So like, talk to me about this. Like, give me some advice for the parents out there listening to this. You rely on relationships for recruiting. You rely on relationships for your personnel. So what advice do you have for parents, to understand that concept for their kids? What advice do you have for them as they have kids that you're coming up in the game and they want to make a go out of it? What advice do you have for the parents out there of the younger generation of baseball players?
Well, now they need to be patient. This rush to commit is not, it's not a thing anymore. It's very interesting. The one good thing, I don't want to say one good thing, but everyone talks about how bad the portal is and this and that and everything, right? I think the one very big time positive across the board is done. It's really slowed down this 8th and 9th grade commitment stuff.
Yes.
It's so important. I just think it's really important in 8th, 9th, and in the 10th grade now that there's a really, really more of a focus on becoming the best player you can be, not on what school you could trying to play at, and really work on becoming a really good baseball player from an IQ standpoint, from a physical standpoint, is getting yourself where you're triggering your body to become the best player that you can be. I think that's really important. From that standpoint, I think getting on campuses are really important. I think identifying those schools, and again, I know everybody's first couple schools are going to be, I get it. If you live in North Carolina, if you had to pick 5 places you wanted to play, it's going to be UNC, it's going to be NC State, it's going to be Duke, it's going to be East Carolina. You follow me? I understand that. So if those are where you want to go, go test the waters. Go to their camp, go do something. And then if they don't call you or don't recruit you, well, then, you know what I mean? You're going to have to work yourself down, you know what I mean, to what's perceived the next level of places. And I think it's really, you know what I mean? That's kind of that's always been my piece. Or also, now, get yourself in the summer, you got to get in with a trusted organization that has relationships with colleges.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
How can a parent evaluate that about an organization?
Well, it's number one, it's going to be where do they get their players? Do they get committed? You know what I mean? And then it's not just okay, we have this. Well, how do you get them committed? You know what I mean? How does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is it the direct relationships? Is it, you know what I mean? What how does it work from that standpoint? I think that's really important. And where are you going? What events are you playing in? What players have committed from those things? I think trying to do your homework from that standpoint is really important. And then how the organization answers the questions, I think, are important too.
I like that.
So there's an understanding, how that goes forward. I mean, and I don't want to say because there's a lot of good organizations out there, and it's, and I don't want, we just don't recruit from certain ones. We got guys from all over, all different ones, you know what I mean? But we have some that we've had multiple good players and multiple, you know what I mean? And again, it's like anything, right?
You keep going back to the well. It worked.
Yeah,
it worked one time, it worked
doubt.
2 times. Why are we not going to go back?
You like a certain steak from a certain grocery store. You keep going back and getting it, right? Hey
man. Hey, I'm going to say that's brilliant again too, and that's why it's so important for the parents to really make sure they're doing their best to do their homework and who they're putting their kids around. Talking with Coach Jim.
Be patient. Just be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient. Just don't race you know what I mean? Sometimes there's guys out there now that are seniors and they're still not committed. And it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, everything, the time is you just, every time when there's more time, you can make a more educated decision.
Yes. And I think that's a good thing. Truly, I think this is what I hear. And it's a general theme. College baseball is getting older. the high school players are getting somewhat devalued. Like I hear those things, and maybe devalue is the wrong word, but they don't have as much. They're not as much recruited by the Division Ones out of high school anymore. But baseball is of any sport, in my opinion. You have to be committed to a process of becoming your absolute greatest version of yourself, and that looks differently for everybody. What say you?
Yeah, it is different for everybody, and it isn't for everybody.
Yeah,
it's not for everybody. The playing end of this is not. And it's, you know what, it's tough because I don't know how. It's difficult to prepare somebody for what they go through in college baseball. Like I honestly, I share with our freshmen every year, right? Like I tell them one-on-one because they come here in the summer, and it's great. They get a feel good experience to a point. Like they work with our strength coach. They're taking one class. They're like the only people on campus. They're like the man, you know what I mean? And then August comes and then the grown men walk in the locker room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I explained to all of them right before they leave in the summer. I go, and they're coming back for their true fall of their freshman year. I'm like, you're about to encounter, I really believe, like athletically, the fall of your freshman year in college baseball is the most difficult time of your life.
Wow.
Baseball life.
Yes.
It is extremely difficult. It's hard. It's very, very, it's time consuming. It's just the transition from, it's just unfortunate that, these young men get built up to be like way more sometimes than where they're probably currently at.
Yep.
And you get this dose of reality that sets in. We're going through it right now, and I give them like a lot of leeway, like listen, you're about to get broken down. You're about to get broken down, and you're going to have to embrace it, and you're going to get built back up. Wow. And I can promise you this, if you stick with the process, this is not Twitter. This is not Instagram. You are not going to get instant gratification. You're going to do all this work. You're going to do all this stuff, and you're not going to see the return right away. It's not coming. But I can promise you, if you keep showing up every day and you keep working, and then it's going to show up. And when it does, I'll be right there next to you and go, hey, here it is.
Yes.
You're reaping the benefits. But hey guys, it might not be till October of your sophomore year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might, where it just clicks. But you got to just keep showing up every day. You got to keep showing up.
And that fires me up, talking with Coach Jim Chester of Gardner-Webb University on the Baseball Forward podcast today. That fires me up because you know what, Coach? I'm going to say this. I was around a lot of really good coaches in my career. And the best coaches, and when I look back and I reflect, were the guys that were honest with me and the guys that prepared me for the fail. Like, I think you have to be prepared because most high school guys and even some junior college guys, or maybe even transfers, but young baseball players, if they've had a ton of success and they're getting recruited by a school like you, they probably haven't had a ton of failure at this point. And I look back and I'm like, man, the coaches that were like, hey, get ready, it's coming. Hey, it's going to be okay. It's part of it, because you don't know how to prepare for failure. So I want to ask you specifically, preparing for failure. When I say preparing to fail, is that just about like what you described? It's like talking about failure is the process. It's built in. What are your thoughts on getting guys to overcome failure?
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces here, right? Like there's the mental part, right? And I try to, what we try to do is get ahead of it, okay? And we try to paint the picture before it happens.
I like that.
And so they're kind of ready for it. And when it happens, then I can look at them and go, yeah, here it is. And again, we try to and again, these guys are on their phones all the time, right? So and again, I still believe in the face-to-face and the communication and all those type and conversation, but their phones and it just takes, maybe it's a, you know what I mean? I mean, there's a text at night, hey, you know what I mean? Tough day today, but be ready to go tomorrow. You know what I mean? Those have got to be strategic. It could be, and I know I was just kind of clowning on Instagram and Twitter, but there's a lot of good stuff on there too.
You bet.
From a motivational piece, a failure piece, and I like to share a lot of that with our guys. Whether it's just sticking it in our group chat or it's one-on-one or doing whatever you need to do from that standpoint. I'm a big proponent, like, you know what I mean? Like when it happens in practice, like next play, like that's the whole part about like playing hard, playing fast. And it's just having short-term, you know what I mean? You have a quick turnaround, short-term memory, just move on. Let's just move on. Yes. You can't change it. Change it. Like how good you're going to be on your next play is this how you handle this one. Okay. Like how are you handling this? How do we move on? Don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
And that's really hard. That's really hard to because again, they haven't really experienced the failure yet. And how do you move on? Because some guys can't move on. I want to, about 5-10 more minutes with you here, Coach. I want to ask you, so baseball forward, this podcast and what my business partners and I are about. Elevating the next generation. That's the motto. Okay. Elevating the next generation, super positive. Elevating the next generation of ball players and coaches. So if I say elevating the next generation, to the baseball players specifically, what advice would you have for them that can help elevate them to where they want to where they want to go?
My advice, and it's like, it's, I mean, it's hard, right? Like I really think that, I think the players are getting better. Okay. I really do. Like, I think baseball has gotten way, I mean, I think the skill part of it is, well beyond when I played. And like, even when I first started coaching, I mean, we've got better athletes. We've got guys that hit the ball harder. We got guys that throw harder. We got all that.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think that is not grown and it's probably decreased is the understanding of how to play the game. I really, really like, and again, I don't fault, like, but I can see it. I see it every year as we come in here. Guys very rarely can bunt. They can't. They don't understand how to execute a hit and run. The double cut. I can go down a list of things that I know that we've got to really harp on. We've got to work with. We got to continue to get them to grow and do all those type of things. So, I really, really, really challenge the next group because a baseball game is about, like, it starts off as a one-on-one, right? It's the pitcher versus the hitter, but the actions of both have to be team based. The thought process when the ball is thrown is like, I do have guys behind me, right?
Yes.
And when I'm at the plate, my objective isn't completely to always just beat the pitcher. It's, it's more like to outsmart the defense and hit it where they're not. You know what I mean? So, but I think we've created this one-on-one mentality. How hard can I throw it and how hard can I hit it? More than like, how can I outsmart? How can I, you know what I mean?
Yeah. IQ stuff.
Yeah.
I like that, Coach. And to me, baseball is a beautiful game when everybody on the field, coaches included, are dialed into what's happening and what we're trying to accomplish. When there's nothing better than when let's just say when somebody moves a runner over and the dugout comes out and you're high fiving. That's the type of stuff that I got into. All right, Coach. Last question for you here. I got to know. Like, I'm a big music guy, so I want to know music that you listen to. If you probably didn't have a walkout song when you played because it was probably before that, right? But if you were gonna have
how old do you think I am?
Hey, as old as me, I know that. So let's say this: if you were gonna have a walkout song, what would your walkout song be right now as a baseball player?
It's really tough. I don't know. What's that song that everybody walks out to? Morgan Wallen. The people they do at Walkout. I don't know.
Hey, Morgan Wall would be a good one.
I
Anything
know.
Morgan
I
Wall,
don't know. You know what? Listen, I'm kind of a guy where, like, I listen to a little bit of everything. I mean, I like some country. And then I like the I'm a generational guy too. I grew up in the 90s.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I like a lot of 90s stuff. And you're really catching. I'd have to think about that one. Because dude, I loved my college baseball experience. I was a Division III player in the Northeast. I know cold baseball. Trust me. Yeah, we weren't privy to walk-up songs. We were lucky. We had music in between innings.
Same here.
I think my senior year we had music in between innings. So
hey, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna make a movement in the game of college baseball to allow the head coaches to have walkout music, and they have to like play that when the coaches are meeting at home plate. I'm gonna say from now on we need to push for head coaches having walkout music. So I want you to think about what that walkout music is, because I'm gonna hold you to it, and I'm gonna send you a note before your first game in the spring and say, Coach, you better be walking out to that.
You do that. I'm gonna ask my daughter. She's 13. She has to pick it. She doesn't want me to embarrass her. So if I had a walkout song, so because whatever I put on in the car, I'm the most not cool person that there is on earth. You know what I mean, from that standpoint. But you know what? I'm pretty good on these things. I feel like I can always flow. I don't need to prep. You caught me there. I don't know what my walkout song would be. You're usually pretty good about that.
I like it. I gotta
think about that one. I got to think about that one.
Send me a text and let me know what you decide on, and then I'm going to hold you to it. Coach Jim Chester, a Gardner-Webb. Hey, I'm going to let you take us out, and then I'll wrap it up here. Final word, Coach.
No, nothing. I just, like I said, I appreciate the opportunity to be on here. Love talking shop. Love talking baseball. Love college baseball. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it honestly out there, it's the truest form of baseball. Yes, at any level. I really hope everyone that's following here or watching, check out the Running Bulldogs this spring. Really fired up about our group. I think our guys are going to play the right way. I think we're extremely talented, and I'm really excited to watch us continue to grow and unfold.
I am too, Coach. Coach Jim Chester, episode 76 of the Baseball Forward podcast. We'll see you guys soon.